So as I mentioned, there are two main things that we can do with the git rebase command. We're going to focus on the first of those things, using it as an alternative to the git merge command. So both commands, git merge, git rebase, help us combine changes from two branches. Okay, so I'm going to start by identifying I guess you could call it the problem with merging, or something that rebasing addresses that merging does not. So imagine that I'm working on a project with, let's say, 10 different developers. I'm at work and we're working on some big code base together, 10 of us. Okay, so we have our master branch and there's like a million commits before it that you can't see. Well, maybe a couple thousand commits. Then it's my turn. We have stand up. It's my turn to work on a new feature this morning. Well, everyone works on a new feature, but it's time for me to start a new feature. So I make a new feature branch. We'll just call it feature. And I do some work on that feature branch, right? So there's a new commit or two, or maybe more. Continue doing more work. We end up with more commits on my branch. But in the meantime, maybe a couple hours pass, maybe it's lunch, and one of my other coworkers finished their task, their bug fix or their new feature or whatever, and that code is merged into master. Now, probably they make a pull request or there's some mechanism in between, but the end result is that their changes are merged into master. So I probably want that new work on my feature branch, right? Maybe there's a bug fix in there or something. I don't want to diverge from the master branch for a super long time without getting those new changes. So how do I get that new commit? Hopefully this is nothing new. How do I get that new work from the master branch onto my feature branch? Well, I merge, right? So this cannot be performed as a fast forward merge. We end up with a merge commit. That's what I'm highlighting. That purple background with a green or whatever, cyan color, that's supposed to indicate a merge commit. So there's a merge commit on my branch. And then I keep doing some more work, right? And then, what do you know? As I'm doing more work the next day on my feature branch, there's more new work added to the master branch. Another coworker pushes up some changes. Maybe it's even more than one. Maybe it happens 5 or 6 times in a day, depending on what they're fixing or working on. So I need to get those commits onto my feature branch, or I need to know about them. So I do the same thing. I merge, and yet again, I have a new merge commit, right? So as I continue to work, imagine that instead of 5 commits here or something, I have a whole bunch of commits on my branch, my feature branch. Maybe I'm working on it over the course of weeks, not just days. And the rest of the team is very active. So we have a very active master branch, lots of changes happening in the meantime. So I need to continuously merge those in, and I end up with all these merge commits. So my entire feature branch might have dozens of merge commits that don't actually say anything about what I'm working on. They have nothing to do with my actual code or with my commits. They just have to be there because I merged, right? We don't have a way around that. So again, try and visualize this on a much larger scale. So instead of just the small number of commits I can fit on this one slide in a tiny diagram, imagine that I'm merging pretty frequently just to get those changes from master, whatever my coworkers are doing. And if it's a very, very active project, that could be a lot of merging onto each feature branch. And my coworkers all have to do that too, right? I'm not the only one. They're all working on features. And if everyone else has merged changes into master, they need to get those changes onto their feature branches. So everyone's feature branches might be riddled with a bunch of merge commits. And then when they merge those back into master, there's just a bunch of useless merge commits as part of the history. I shouldn't say useless, but they're not informative, right? The commits might be something like fix X bug, add new feature, remove X file, and then merge commit, merge blah branch, right? That's just sprinkled in there. And that makes our history more annoying, muddier, less clean. So that is something that rebasing can help us with. So I'm going to show an example repo. We'll set it up in the next video, but I'll just show you on slides for now. If we rebase instead, so rebasing is just another way of combining branches instead of merging. What happens when we rebase is that we actually rewrite history, and this is why it's sometimes problematic. We are rewriting history. We're creating new commits, or we have Git create new commits for us based upon the original feature branch commits. So here's a diagram, the same diagram from before up top. Here's my feature branch. This is what happens when I merge in all those changes, right, from the master branch, and I get multiple merge commits. But if I use rebase, so I'm going to rebase the feature branch onto the master branch. Think of the term rebase as I was going to say rebase. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We are coming up with a new base for our feature branch. So what we end up with is this linear structure. We will go into detail again on how this all works, and I'll demo it. But notice a linear structure, we have the master branch, and then we have our feature commits from that feature branch on top of the master branch, added to the tip of that master branch. So we don't have these merge commits, right? We have the same original, like the 3 commits I did on the feature branch, the 4 commits from the master branch, but they've actually been rewritten. So this doesn't indicate the time where things were made, where commits were created. Each commit actually has a date, so that is preserved. But commits are moved around in order to give us this new structure. So all that feature branch work I have done, all those commits, begin at the tip of the master branch. So I don't have these merge commits anymore, but the end result is that whatever I'm working on here contains all of the commits from master and from feature, just like it does right here. It's just a different mechanism. And here's a similar example where instead of having these merge commits, I just wait. So I have my feature branch, and then I want to get the changes from master, combine them with feature, those new commits. I can rebase in order to end up with this structure. My feature branch has a new base at the tip of the master branch. So it begins where master ends. And we end up with this nice structure, linear. It's cleaner and it's more focused, right? The history here, someone can see very quickly, these are the commits that had to do with my branch and the changes I made, versus here, those commits are still there, but there's these merge commits that are in the way. So if we multiply that by 10 people working on feature branches, merging all the time, that's a lot of merge commits. But if they all rebase in the correct way, it's a lot easier to see what's going on with their individual branch history. All right, so I'm going to demo this in the next couple of videos.